as we discussed yesterday, okay, in Kubernetes, we have auto scaling, pod auto scaling. Based on the pod metrics, the metrics in the sense, the metrics is nothing but a data about the pod. The pod metrics, pod CPU utilization or memory utilization. We can adjust the number of pod replicas dynamically. In Kubernetes, you have pod autoscaler. There are two types of autoscalers, as I told, but we will be discussing only about horizontal pod autoscaler, that is widely used autoscaler. Right? We have one object, again one more Kubernetes object called horizontal pod autoscaler. This is one Kubernetes object again, which will adjust the number of pod replicas which will scale up or down number of pod replicas of replica set, deployment, any like a replication controller. Controller dynamically based on the observed CPU or memory utilization. Based on observed metrics. Utilization. This is one object which we can create for a replication set or replication controller or deployment, which will adjust the number of pod replicas, which will scale up, scale down the pod replicas, right, based on the load. Right. So, as I told, the pod, the this horizontal pod autoscaler will try to adjust the number of pod replicas of a controller deployment or observed CPU and memory utilization. So HPI will interact with some other component. HPI will interact with some other components in a Kubernetes to identify the CPU and memory utilization. HPI will interact with metric server. HPI will interact with metric server to identify the CPU and memory utilization of the pod. So based on that, it will scale up, scale down. So by default, we don't have that component deployed. By default, we don't have that component deployed. If you see, if you connect our cluster, Let me connect to that kubectl. So I have a kubectl configured in this machine, right? Which is again a master machine. In the same machine, I have kubectl installed. This kubectl is interacting with Kubernetes cluster with the help of this file, kubeconfig file, as we already know. I have a kubeconfig file. kubectl is using this config file by default to interact with master machine, that API server. We have these many nodes. We created yesterday deployment, right? Deployment created replica sets and all pods. Now, if you see, by default, we don't have a component which will gather that metrics. The pod CPU utilization, memory utilization. In Docker, we used one command. What command we used to see the pod, the container CPU utilization, memory utilization? Like the Docker stats, Docker stats, Docker stats, right? Similarly, in Kubernetes, you have a kubectl command, that is kubectl top. Here, it's a kubectl top, kubectl top nodes, kubectl top pods. So it used to show the pod metrics or container metrics. If you see, we are getting a message metrics API not available. By default, we don't have that component metrics API, which will gather the metrics, which will talk to the API server and it will gather the metrics. So we have to deploy that application. That is again Kubernetes application, internal application. We used to have one component called Heapster in Kubernetes. By default, we used to have that component in early releases of Kubernetes. We used to have a Heapster. So we used to have in early releases of Kubernetes. It's a performance and monitoring collection system, right? It's compatible with Kubernetes. In early releases, we used to have by default. Now, we don't have that one by default deployed. The way we have a API server, the way we have a scheduler, we used to have a Heapster in early releases. Now, we can deploy one application called metrics server. So we can deploy one application called metrics server. This is again one application which will be running in a Kubernetes. So metrics server is an application that collects metrics from the objects such as pods, nodes, right? Metrics server can be installed in the Kubernetes system as an add-on, right? You can install metrics server. You can deploy metrics server. Metrics server is one application. Again, it's one Docker image. Metrics server is again one application. They have Dockerized that application as an image, right? So that metrics server right? It's a Docker image. So we can get CPU, memory utilization of all those stuff, right? So we can deploy using some manifest file again, right? So this metric server we can deploy using manifest file. If you see, this is again one kind of a deployment which we are going to deploy. If you see, let me come here. It's a deployment, right? Metric server we are deploying using this image, this image, using this image, right? So who created this image and who is managing, if you see, under which repository it's there? Who is managing this image, if you observe, right? It's managed by Kubernetes itself. So we are going to deploy this as an add-on. We are going to deploy this as add-on. Now, if you see, we are creating some other objects, like in RBAC, we will discuss what is service account, what is cluster role, right? If you see, we are creating another object called service account when we are deploying a metric server. We are creating one service account and we are creating a cluster role. We are creating a cluster role. We are creating a cluster role, metric server cluster role, if you see. And we are binding that role with that service account. Whatever service account you created, with that service account, you are binding the role. And we are using that service account with our pod. With our pod, when we are deploying, right? We are mentioning that service account name. So what is service account? Let me give at high level, right? What is service account? What is this, right? You are creating a role at high level. We are creating a service account and we are binding this role with this service account using this. Then we are using the service account with our deployment. When we are deploying that metric server, we are using that service account. So it's all about permissions, guys. It's all about permissions. This metric server is one application that is running as a pod. So that pod requires permissions to communicate with API server. That pod requires permissions. This metric server pod requires permissions, authorization. So metric server has to communicate with API server and other Kubernetes objects to get the information, pod information, nodes information, right? Let me ask this way. In AWS, you have a IAM. In AWS, you have a IAM. How you are giving access to the AWS resources to the AWS resource? Suppose one AWS resource has to have some permissions to create, update, or get, right? Using role, policies, all those stuff, right? Similarly here, we are giving access, we are giving permissions, or we are giving permissions to the Kubernetes resources to the pod or applications with the help of this service account and role. Service account is like a user, role is basically permissions. So at high level, it's basically in Kubernetes, we call it as a RBAC, role-based access control. So metric server should have a permissions to get pods information, permissions to get nodes information, right? So how we are giving permissions to the metric server application, that container or the deployment or that pod, right? With the help of this service account and role. So that the metric server will have a access or permissions to get the pods information, nodes information. So that is what at high level, this service account. We are creating one service account with this name. We are creating a role, cluster role. If you see, we are giving permissions to pods, nodes, right? Node statistics. Again, what type of permissions? We are only giving read-only permissions. We are creating a role. We are creating a role and we are binding that role with service account. So do we need role for all the pods, right? Why I am giving this only to this pod? Because do we need our like permissions to our Kubernetes objects, like our applications? Suppose you created a deployment for Java application. You created a deployment for web application. You created a deployment for Node.js application. Are they going to manage the pods? Are they need permissions to know about the pods, nodes, right? Those are not required, right? So for those deployments, you don't need a permissions, which will interact with Kubernetes API, which will manage Kubernetes APIs. So this is control plane Kubernetes application, Kubernetes internal application. So it will talk to the Kubernetes API. So if you want to talk to the Kubernetes API, do you need a permission? If you want to know, you are deploying one application in the cluster, that application requires access to the Kubernetes API. It should talk to the metric server to know about the pods, to know about the nodes, all those stuff. So that's why only we are giving this permission. So if I deploy this application, it will interact with Kubernetes API to gather the metrics. To simplify for our students, what I have done, I have kept that YML file, whatever YML file I have shown, I have kept that YML file in this GitHub, our GitHub. To simplify for our students, what I have done, I have kept that YML files in this GitHub, our GitHub. There is a folder called metric server. So you can read through what is metric server, right, which I have explained. You clone that project wherever you have a kubectl, the Kubernetes client installed. Wherever you have a Kubernetes client installed, and you clone that project, right? Go inside that metric server folder and apply those YML. So it will create that role, service account, and deployment for metric server. So let me clone wherever I have a, here I have a kubectl. So let me clone that. Let me clone. So this has just YML files. Let me go inside that. So there is a folder called deploy. Don't go inside that. I have some YML files. Our Kubernetes version is 1.8 plus. So I have those YMLs, deployment YML, service account YML, right? All those are Kubernetes objects again. Service account is again one Kubernetes object. Cluster role is again one Kubernetes object. It's all about permissions, role-based access. So from this top metric server directory, I'm going to apply all those manifests which are part of 1.8 plus folder. So it is going to create that service account, role, deployment. If you see service account, deployment, service, that role binding, all those stuff it has created. Now if you see in Kubernetes system namespace, now do you see metric server pod is running, which we deployed just now, 21 seconds ago? So this metric server will interact with API, Kubernetes API. It will interact with Kubernetes API to gather the information about nodes, pods, that pod metrics. Now we deployed this metric server. Let me come out. Now, if you see, now it's not available yet. It is going to take some time. Just now we deployed, right? That pod is still yet to be fully functional. Now it is not available yet. After some time, once the pod is completely ready, you will be able to see the pod metrics. It is taking just for some time. After some time, right? Now, if you see, it is gathering the metrics. If you see why this for this node it is unknown, maybe that node is not, again that node might have some issues. Yeah, this server, right? This server is not ready. So who is who is the component in this server which will report the master machine will use which component in this machine to control that machine? The kubelet. Since we might have overloaded that machine, right? Lot of CPU and memory utilization is there because we just created 1 GB servers. So we deployed lot of applications, right? So that's why it is not working as expected. So let me restart this. Let it happen in the background. Let me stop and I'll start. So let it happen in the background. Now it is trying to gather the metrics. Now if you see, it is trying to gather metrics. How much CPU, how much memory utilization. So I have not deployed that HPA. We just deployed this metric server which is required to deploy that HPA. So now we have some component which will gather the metrics. Now can I deploy that HPA object so that it can adjust the number of pods based on the load? While creating a HPA, you need to mention what is the target CPU utilization or memory utilization. Based on the target CPU utilization, based on the target memory utilization, it can scale up, scale down the applications. So we just completed the first part, right? This is required to deploy HPA objects. So because HPA requires metrics, how it can take the decision when to scale and how to scale the pods? how Kubernetes, this HPA object, will decide when to scale and how to scale, because it is going to use based on this one. So this metric server will not find the disk utilization. Disk utilization is not an issue here in case of this one, right? Disk utilization is basically volume. You have a volume, right? Pods are using volumes, right? So that is your storage. That is your storage. The problem, when to scale, we have to scale when you have a lot of CPU utilization and memory utilization, not based on the storage. So now we can auto scale any application, guys. We can auto scale any application. We have a one more object called this HPA. We need to create a HPA, this object. We have a like kind horizontal pod autoscaler. We are defining under this spec, we are defining minimum replicas, how many replicas, maximum replicas, how many replicas, maximum. So if I say minimum 2, how many minimum it will manage? So if I mention minimum replicas as 2, always it will maintain minimum 2 pods. If I say maximum as 5, if I say maximum as 5, it will scale up to 5. But when it will scale? When I will get a third one, when I will get a fourth one, when I will get a fifth one. Where are we, defining the target? Where are we defining our target, when to scale and how to scale? If you see here, based on this metrics. So here I am saying based on the CPU or based on the memory. You can say memory, based on the memory also. This is in percentile. This is in percentile. Okay. If I say CPU, target average CPU utilization is 50%. Suppose if I have a 2 pods and both pods average, it's a both pods average, CPU utilization is greater than this one, I will get a third pod. Again, if I have a 3 replicas and 3 replicas average is again greater than 50%, it will create a fourth one. But again, I have a lot of applications in my cluster. I have a lot of applications, lot of deployments, or maybe lot of replica sets. So this horizontal pod autoscaler will scale up, scale down which pods? Where are we defining the target, scale target to which, which object it has to scale, which controller it has to scale, because I may have a lot of deployments, lot of replica sets. This auto scaling for which one? This auto scaling is for which one? Which replication controller or which replica set or which deployment? Where can we mention that? Where are we mentioning that? If you see here, we have one property called scale target reference. Scale target reference. Right? Here you are going to mention, if you want to target deployment, you are going to mention something like this. Your deployment name. Suppose I have deployed this object, Java Web App deployment, something like this. So this is for which deployment now? For this guy. Suppose if I want to target some replica set, I can say something like this, that replica set thing. So this is again one object which you are going to deploy. So this will use metrics. Based on the metrics, it will adjust the number of pod replicas. It will adjust the number of pod replicas, right? Again, minimum I have mentioned 2 pods, right? Again, even though there is no load, if one of the pod goes down, what will happen? Right? It will recreate. Yes, for whatever deployments or whatever applications you want to create a HPA, you need to create a HPA for each and every application, each and every deployment, and or each and every replica set if you are creating, right? So for this deployment, this is the metric server. Suppose if you have another deployment, for that deployment also you need to create a HPA. So now let me demonstrate this. I am going to deploy some simple application. I am going to deploy one application. First, let me delete all this application, because if I want to demonstrate this one, I should have some resources. I am deleting whatever I have in this cluster, all the applications. Now I will deploy one simple application. I will not deploy HPA first. I will not deploy HPA first. And you can see your parts will not scale up, scale down automatically if we don't have a HPA object for the deployment. If you don't have a HPA object for the deployment, it will not scale up, scale down automatically. Right? So before deploying, right, let me show. I will use some image that we can create a HPA for any deployment, guys. We can create HPA for any deployment. I will use one image which is provided by Kubernetes itself to demonstrate HPA. I will create a deployment for that application. You know how to create a deployment. It is not something new. But if you see, I'm going to introduce some more instructions in my pod manifest. So this is one deployment. I am giving a deployment name something like this. For deployment, labels are optional. You don't need to define. I am saying HPA deployment demo. This is one deployment. How many replicas I am creating for this deployment? I am using this application to demonstrate. How many? 2 replicas. You know what is selector, what is this part template, and I am using this image. I am using this image. This is just an image to demonstrate this one. I am using this image, which is provided by Kubernetes. You can deploy for Java web application also, or you can deploy this HPA for any application. Now, I am introducing some more things. While deploying this pod, I am defining a resources for this container. As I told yesterday, we can define a resources for our pods, our containers, our pod containers. So for this container, I am defining a resource. Resource has 2 things, request and limits. As I told, what is request and what is limits? Request minimum guarantee resources which you are going to get. You are reserving minimum this much CPU and memory. Suppose your cluster, in your cluster, none of the servers has this much CPU and memory. Will your pod will be scheduled, guys? If none of the servers has this much So if you don't have this minimum resources available, it will not schedule your pods. Now limits. What is the meaning of limits? Maximum how much memory and CPU it can utilize. So based on your application type, right, you can define this minimum, maximum, right? Suppose I'm trying to deploy a Tomcat. Can I mention like maximum it can use 64 MI? Will the Tomcat will be able to run within this given memory? If I say maximum as 64 megabytes, is Tomcat will be able to run within this limit? Tomcat requires some more CPU and memory, right? If I just say this one, your pod itself will not come up. So here let me give something like 256. Something like this. This is maximum. Forget about HPA. Without HPA also, like this is just a deployment. I'm not talking to, I'm not talking about HPA for now. Suppose if I deploy something like this, I have a 2 pods, and if there is a lot of load on this application, lot of people are accessing this application. If there is a lot of load, your CPU and memory utilization will go high. Forget about HPA. I have not deployed HPA for this deployment. Will it scale up, scale down automatically if I don't deploy HPA? It won't, right? What will happen in that case? Always there will be 2 replicas. Your CPU utilization will be very high. Your memory utilization will be very high. What will happen in that case if I have only 2, right? In case of CPU utilization, slowness. In case of memory utilization, your process may crash. Your process in the container may crash. So if your container goes down or your pod goes down, then what this controller will do, this deployment will do if your pod goes down? It will recreate the pod. But is that the solution? Is that the solution when you have a lot of load? So when you have a lot of load, you need to adjust your number of replicas. So that is when you can deploy a HPA, horizontal pod autoscaler, so that it can scale up before it reaches maximum CPU or memory, whatever we have mentioned, right? You can have a HPA, it can scale up. Now in my HPA, just to give an example, I have mentioned 50% target. What is the meaning of 50% CPU target? So how much CPU I have allocated? 100 millicore. 1000 millicore is nothing but 1 core, right? 100 millicore. It is like 10 lakh millicores, right? 10 lakh cores. So 10 lakh cores, right? 10 lakh millicores, sorry. So here I have mentioned 100, like it's a 1/10th of 1 core CPU. One core. So here 1000 millicore is 1 core CPU, something like this. So what is the average I have mentioned in HPA at 50%. So when it will target utilization is 50%. Just to give an example, I have given 50%. So average, if I have 2 replicas, if 1 replica CPU utilization, it is using, let's assume 60 millicore current utilization. Maximum I have given 100. Let's assume one pod is using, one container is using, one pod is using 60 millicore. And if second pod is, let's assume, just 30 millicore, will it scale up the third pod? Will it scale up the third pod? It is going to take average. Just to give an example. No. Suppose one is taking 50, other one is taking, let's assume, 55 millicore. So now average, I will get a third pod. I will get a third pod based on this, right? So we can define resource request and limits for your pods. Then based on these resource request and limits, you can define a target utilization in your HPA. Guys, this is the best practice we will follow, right? For your, when you are deploying your applications in a Kubernetes cluster or Docker, also in Docker Swarm also, we can define the resources, how much minimum, maximum. Why we need to define, right? Suppose you have some critical applications. Suppose you have very critical applications, that is more important. And you have some applications which are not critical. And again, those applications are like, they have, people has written some bad code and it is going to take a lot of CPU and memory. If you don't control those, if you don't limit those containers, if you don't define the limits for those containers, will it impact the critical applications which is going to run in the same cluster? Suppose you have very bad code, it is taking lot of CPU, lot of memory, right? If you don't limit, right, what will happen? The other applications may run out of CPU and memory. So when we are deploying applications in real time, you are going to define resource request and limits. Based on that resource request and limits, again you can define a HPA if required to scale up, scale down the pods based on the load. Again, one small question here. Here, can I define something like this? Can I have a can I have my request greater than limits? Will it allow? My request is more than limits, right? Ideally, limit should be greater than or equals to request. Limits should be greater than or equals to request, but not something like this. So now let me deploy this application. I'm deploying this application. This is one application. I'm deploying this deployment. Since it's a just 1 GB server, I removed everything, guys. I don't have any application now. If you see in default namespace, I don't have any application. So I'm going to deploy this application. This is one deployment. We are deploying one application. Now how many? I have one deployment. The deployment is managing how many pods for now, as of now? Only two. Navin is asking, that is maximum you have given 5, right? It will not scale up more than maximum. That you have mentioned maximum 5. Even after having 5 pods, if your CPU utilization is memory utilization very high, it will not scale up the sixth one unless until you update your HPA. You update your HPA object. Instead of 5, you object, maximum replicas. Instead of 5, you update your HPA as, maximum as 10 or maximum as 7. Then it will scale up. It will not scale up more than maximum, because that is what you have defined as a maximum. So now I have 2 pods and I have not deployed any HPA as of now. How can I access this application? This is one application, just a demo application. If I want to access within the cluster or outside the cluster, how can I access, right? Within the cluster, I can create a cluster service. So this is very simple application, I think. Yeah. If I curl, this is running on port 80. The container itself is running on port 80. The container itself is running on port 80. Right? Container port is 80. So it is very simple application. I am getting a response. Okay. Now, how can I access within the cluster or outside the cluster? If I want to access outside the cluster, I need to create a what? Service object. So I can create a service object, right? You know what is service? I don't need to mention. I'm just container port is 80. So port target port is also 80, because container port itself is 80 for this one, this application. So target port is 80, my service port is 80. And I am going to change this service type as, maybe node port for now, because I want to show you from outside also. Node port. Let me apply this. Now I have a service. This is my service port. Node port. Now I can access from outside also. Let me open the port in some server, whatever server you want to use, right? Let me open the port in the security group. So let me take the IP address. It's very simple application. It is just giving a response. Okay. So this is the response I'm getting. Now I have 2 pods, only 2 pods. Now request goes to service, and service will route the traffic to these 2 pods. If lot of requests are coming, service has only 2 pods. Now I can increase the load. So service request goes to service will have how many pods? Only 2 pods. So it will route the traffic to only those 2 pods. If there is lot of load, right, our CPU and memory utilization can go high. Now what is the, how much CPU it is taking? Just 1 millicore, and this much memory it is taking. Let me open again another tab. Here also I'll connect to the same machine where I have a kubectl. Here also I'll connect to the same machine. Top pods. So this is the current CPU utilization, memory utilization. Do I have a load on this application as of now? Is anyone is accessing this application as of now? If you see current CPU utilization, do we have a load as of now on this one? Is anyone is accessing this application? No, right? So now I need to simulate the load. If lot of people access this application, automatically the load will be increased. I need to increase the load. How can I increase the load? Do I need to ask all of you to access this application? Or can I put load maybe programmatically using some script? Right? I will use one application, one temporary application. I will use one temporary application. I'm going to create a pod using one image called BusyBox. That BusyBox is basically one Linux image, right? One image which will have some softwares like wget, those softwares. I'm going to create a pod out of that image. I'm creating that pod interactively. kubectl run -it. So once I come out of that pod, it will be deleted, right? The pod name I'm giving something like this, load generator, something like this. This is my pod name. I will use this image. There is an image called this. It is just a Linux image with some softwares. So I'm going to create a container out of this image interactively. This is my pod name, like load generator. So from this pod, will I able to access that service? So that service will route the traffic to the pods. So I'm creating it. So now I am inside this pod. From here, I can access that service. I think what is the service name? This is the service name, right? So this is the service name. Guys, here I have given that command, right? So if you see, I can execute something like this, just one command. Now, am I getting the response from this service? This is my service. I don't have a curl in this machine. So I don't have a curl in this pod actually. I don't have a curl software in this pod. So curl is not there. So that's why we are using wget. This is I'm using. So am I getting a response? I'm using service name. So what is why I am not giving any port? This is service name. What is the default port I have mentioned in the service while creating a service? What is my service port? 80. So that is default port, right? So now request is going to service. Service is routing the traffic to the pod. So I'm getting the response. Now still I don't have a load, right? Now I will execute this command in the loop. I will execute this command in the loop. What is this? So this is the command, right? What is this? How many times it will execute? It will be like infinite loop. It is like infinite loop. So infinitely I'm accessing unless until I terminate this process. So if I infinitely access, will it put the load? It is like lot of people are accessing your application. So now let me run that here. Now you observe here the moment I trigger this one, other side. Now if you see lot of requests are going infinitely unless until I terminate this, unless until I stop this. Now lot of requests are going. Slowly the load is getting built up. Now I don't have a HPA. Will it get a third pod? Will it get a fourth pod? Now slowly here you see, right? Your CPU utilization will go high. Now you don't have a HPA. Will it scale up third pod? Will it scale up fourth pod so that it can distribute the load? Instead of 2 pods, request may go to 4 pods if you scale up. Right? So if you see now, what is the CPU utilization, guys? Current CPU utilization, one pod is having 54 millicore, another pod is having 71 millicore. What is the maximum I have given? Maximum CPU utilization? Now you observe already there is a slowness, little slowness here. If again lot of people are accessing, if lot of people are accessing, guys, CPU utilization I have given 100. Memory is 256. 100 millicore. So now load is getting built up. Is it scaling now? So we need to manually scale. We need to manually scale. Instead of doing manual scaling, you can deploy. Let me stop this. Let me come out of this one, exit. So it will terminate this pod. Now, instead of manual scaling, I can create a HPA, horizontal pod auto scaler object. So that based on that CPU memory utilization, it will scale the pods. It will increase the number of pod replicas. So let me deploy that as well. Let me deploy that as well. Something like this. This is that object. So how we are linking this pod auto scaler with this deployment? If I have other deployment also, for which one? How we are linking? Where is the link between this one and this one, this deployment, right? Here, under the scale target reference, under the scale target reference, right? Here, this is my deployment name, right? I created a deployment with this name, HPA deployment. So with that name only, here I have given the target under scale target reference, right? Now here, this name under scale target, whatever name I have given, that is my deployment name here. And here I have defined based on the CPU. If you see, it's an array, it's a list, it's array. What does it mean? Manasa is asking, what if I want to define on both CPU and memory? Do I need to create another HPA, or can I define within this? Can I define another resource? It's an array here. It's a list. So for memory, instead of CPU, you have to mention something like this, memory. So I just put 50% average utilization. So let me save this. Before applying, let me see HPA, Kubernetes horizontal pod autoscaler. Do I have a HPA objects? Any HPA I have deployed so far in this namespace, in this cluster? We don't have any HPA, horizontal pod autoscaler. So now let me apply. Now HPA object got created. So do you see HPA? So it is trying to calculate the current utilization. It will show after some time. So this is minimum parts to maximum parts to. What is this replicas? It is showing 2. What is this replicas? Currently, how many replicas are there? Currently, how many replicas are there? Now you have minimum 2 pods, maximum 5 pods, right? When I will get a third pod, when I will get a third replica, if you see what is the average currently, what is the average? 1 plus 1, 2 by this replicas, 1%. There is no load as of now, right? So let me open one more tab. Let me open another. Let me here also I'll connect to master because I want to show what is happening in the background. Here also I'll connect to that master. Here I will watch that. Watch kubectl get HPA. You see as of now only 1%, currently 2 replicas because there is no load. Again here, let me put the load. I will again deploy that temporary pod. I will create the temporary pod that using BusyBox, right? So then I am putting the load. Now you observe, slowly what will happen? The memory, that CPU utilization goes high. Since I have a HPA created for this deployment, what it will do? If there is a more than, once it is reached more than 50%, this average, once it goes beyond this 50%, the current, a new pod will be created. Do I need to manually scale? Do I need to manually execute that command, kubectl scale command now? It will scale automatically. But one question here, what if my cluster doesn't have that much CPU and memory when we are scaling? What if your cluster doesn't have whatever CPU and memory you are looking to create a pod? Pod will be scheduled, but pod will be created, pod will be able to run. It will try to create, but will it create? Will it able to create? The scheduler will able to schedule if you don't have enough CPU and memory in your cluster. So this is pod autoscaler. This is only pod autoscaler. If you have enough resources, if you have enough resources in your cluster, it will able to scale up, scale down. But Kubernetes will scale the nodes. Guys, there are two types of scaling, right? In AWS, we discussed auto scaling of the servers. Here, am I talking about the auto scaling of the servers or within the given cluster, within the given resources? Are we talking about the scaling of the pods? Pod scaling, only scaling of the pods. Suppose if you are going for a managed Kubernetes cluster, suppose if you are going for a managed Kubernetes cluster, what is managed Kubernetes cluster? Like EKS, AKS, GKE, cloud managed Kubernetes clusters. In that scenario, I can deploy one more component called cluster autoscaler, one more application called cluster autoscaler, one more application called cluster autoscaler. What that cluster autoscaler will do? I will demonstrate that one also when we go for a EKS. What cluster autoscaler will do? The way you have a pod autoscaler, I can deploy a cluster autoscaler. What that cluster autoscaler can do? Whenever your cluster is running out of resources, whenever your cluster, like your cluster autoscaler, will watch your scheduler, your pods. If any pod is, you know, fail to create because of no resources available. Suppose if it identifies any pod is not running because of no resources, like it is not running because of CPU or memory is not available in the cluster. So what it does, that cluster autoscaler, that cluster autoscaler, that cluster autoscaler will talk to the cloud controller. There you will have a cloud controller. What is the role of cloud controller? It will be acting as a bridge between the cloud provider and the cluster, Kubernetes cluster. So the cloud controller will talk to the AWS. It will increase the number of servers and it will decrease the number of servers. That is cluster autoscaler. But in self-managed, can we achieve that? In a self-managed Kubernetes cluster, you can deploy the pod autoscaler, but will you able to deploy the cluster autoscaler in a self-managed Kubernetes cluster? Will it scale up, scale down the servers in a self-managed cluster? If your server goes down, will it recreate? Or if your cluster is running out of resources, will it scale up, scale down the servers in a self-managed Kubernetes cluster? No, right? It will not do. That's why, like, we have a managed Kubernetes cluster. Now you see, guys, that is fine. Now we are discussing about pod autoscaler. We will demonstrate cluster autoscaler also once we start EKS. Now do you see, do I have a 3 pods now? The load is distributed now, if you see. Now, how many replicas I have for this application, guys? That HPA, this pod, how many pods as of now I have since I increase the load? Since I increase the load, I have 3 pods. Now the load is not beyond the target. Now the load is not beyond the target. Now will I get a 4th one? I'll not get a 4th. Now I will stop the load. Now I will stop the load. Now the load will come down. What it does? Will it maintain still 3 replicas, this autoscaler, this, or it will, if there is no load after some time, right? What it does, basically it comes down to 2. So this is how we can scale up, scale down the pods. This is how you can scale up, scale down your pods. So now suppose you want to limit, guys, for this application also you can define the resources, something like this. Resources request. Resources will have two things, guys. This is very important. In interview they will ask what is resource request and what is resource limits in Kubernetes. So requests, for this one also I can define memory. Guys, I am looking for this 1 GB minimum. Will my parts will be able to schedule, guys? Now if I say minimum memory is 1 GB, does this pod is going to be scheduled? CPU, let me say like maybe 100 millicore or maybe 500 millicore. This is off core. You can say limits also something. It should be equals or greater than the limit, request. Something like this. Memory 2 GB, right? So the moment it reaches 50%, right? It will bring. That is your condition, right? So again, when it comes down, right, it will not bring down immediately. Now there is no load. If you see 1%, right? So there will be a grace period. There will be a grace period, right? It will wait for some time before terminating that. So it will not terminate immediately. Now I can define a request limits, all those stuff here, guys. Now will I able to schedule this pod? Minimum I have given 1 GB. Will I able to schedule this one? Now let me deploy kubectl apply -f Java web app deployment.yml. Deployment is created. Deployment is created. This deployment is created, but is our pods are running successfully? If you see what is the state of our pod for this application, what is the status? Pending. Why it is pending? How can I see? How can I debug or how can I troubleshoot? What is the reason? Let me describe the pod. Why it is pending? Here you see the reason. Failed to schedule, right? 0 by 3 nodes are available. No nodes are available. One node has a taint. Because that is a master node, it will not schedule that, it will not consider that node because it has a taint and our pod doesn't have, but it is not tolerating. And other two servers, two nodes has what? Insufficient memory. Insufficient memory. insufficient memory. Why it is having insufficient memory? I am requesting minimum, even though it doesn't take 1 GB, but I am saying minimum. I am reserving. I am making a reservation, right? If I have this much, then only schedule. Otherwise, don't schedule, right? So your pod will be in pending state only. It will not be scheduled. But if same scenario has happened in case of managed Kubernetes cluster, and if you have a cluster autoscaler deployed in that cluster, what will happen in this scenario? If same thing happened in the managed Kubernetes cluster and you have a cluster autoscaler deployed, what cluster autoscaler does? Cluster autoscaler will talk to the cloud autoscaling. It will scale, it will increase the number of servers. So you have a server, you will have a new server. So once you have a new node, is your scheduler will be able to schedule in that new node because you got some resources, right? So that is how in a managed Kubernetes cluster it will work, right? So now it will work. If you want to send a notification based on the Kubernetes events, right, you need to have a Prometheus deployed. So whenever your pod is in a pending state, also you can trigger a notification, right? Whenever your pod is in failed state, if pod is in failed state for some time, also you can trigger a notifications. That is, comes under monitoring. You need to have a Prometheus deployed. So Prometheus can monitor the Kubernetes nodes. Prometheus can monitor the Kubernetes pods. If pod is in pending state for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, you can trigger a notifications. That comes under monitoring. Prometheus you can deploy if you want to send a notifications. So now let me change this manifest file. Now if you see, did I scale down, guys, the third part, or it is automatically, I know it has automatically scaled down the third part which is created by that HPA. So it has automatically scaled down. Now let me delete whatever I have created for this HPA. Now let me modify this deployment. So with this much it is not working. Let me say minimum 256 millicore, maximum it can use 512, sorry, this is megabytes. Something like this. Now will I able to schedule? Will I able to schedule this? Now let me apply again this change. Now do you see is your parts is running now? Because I have that much CPU and memory, right? And again, suppose you want to auto scale this deployment, what you need to do, guys? If you want to auto scale this deployment, what you need to do? What object you can create? For this application also, what you can create? You can create what? So that This deployment also will be scale up, scale down based on the load. When there is a lot of load on this application, what object needs to be created? What object needs to be created so that it will scale up, scale down these pods? Guys, am I audible? So what object needs to be created for this one? That HPA. But how can you link that HPA? So here the deployment name, right? Instead of this deployment name, I can give whatever deployment I am here. You can have n number of HPAs also. For each deployment, you can have multiple, like for each application, you can create a deployment, something like this, right? So let me save this. Now you see it's using only 2 millicore CPU and this is the memory. Now let me apply this. I will have a HPA for that application also. So this HPA is for this application. It is still, it is still trying to evaluate the current load and all. So if you see now 2 pods, currently there are 2 pods, currently just 1% CPU utilization because there is no load on this application. If lot of requests comes to this application, it will scale up, scale down this application also, something like this. So this is how you can auto scale your pods, right? Auto scaling. So we try to discuss this one like more than what we wanted to cover, like in detail. So tomorrow we will start with volumes, guys. Tomorrow I am going to deploy this application, Spring Boot with Mongo database. Then we will see how to manage volumes. So if I want to deploy this application, I need to deploy 2 images, right? So I need to create 2 services, 2 controllers. Then how to use volumes, we will continue tomorrow. We will discuss about volumes from tomorrow. So today we just discussed about this HPA, how it works, right? What is resource request, what is resource limits, right? So try to practice whatever we discussed today. We'll continue tomorrow, guys. Okay. Thank you. Wish you happy Pongal to each and everyone. We'll continue tomorrow, guys. Thank you. I'm stopping the session for today. We'll continue tomorrow.